What is up, people? Today I am going to be fixing Wildcard. And what I mean by that is I'm going to be going over like two rosters or potential rosters that they could make that I think would accomplish their goals of obviously being like a contending team, making the major consistently. But also they say it in this announcement thing near the bottom. They want it to be North American. So that has to be a requirement that they have a North American core. And then also, obviously, I'm thinking budget wise, like how much money are they realistically going to spend? I don't know how much. So let's take a look at the two teams I have. Now, the first team I have is less likely to happen, but I think that this is like would immediately hit their goals and put them in a good standing. And so here's the team. You have Sens, Hext, Floppy, Dare, and Dexter. I think it's like when the instantly you see this, you're like, okay, yes. Out of like, if you put this team in North America against who they'd have to compete against, this team would like slap. They would like destroy I think almost every American team, and I think this team is almost on par with like a Passion UA. I think this team is would already be better than NRG if you put them together and gave them like 2 weeks of practice. Sens as an IGL is really solid, but he needs like he can't get flustered. His calling is like I guess I don't know if the word would be temperamental, but he needs to be like have a strong second voice. Um, and while Floppy does have, I'd argue, more experience than Dexter, um, in like higher competitive environments, I don't think Floppy is really the vocal guy. And I'm not even sure if he wants to come back and play Counter Strike. So I I put Dexter in because I think he can be that second vocal voice even as an opper because he'll want to be making plays as an opper for himself, and I think that's really good. And then I think you gotta take Hext. You gotta have the American core, or North American core, and I'm thinking budget wise, like these guys are all free agents. Like they're not signed to a team. Getting Hext is pretty much like a free steal. Like he's just coming off playing in a major. He has the experience. He's proven to be a good player. Um Floppy, you're getting more tier one experience. And then with Dare, I think you really do need like a hard entry on this team. And Dare's like probably the most capable guy like in NA right now to do that with experience against like not high level components, but I mean he has played against Spirit. If you tell him go and shoot, he will go and shoot. Looking at the team's dynamic and why I think it would work, it really comes down to like how I think they would mesh together, if that makes sense. I think Floppy is like going to be like really emotionally solid. Like he's not going to get tilted. I think he like controls like the mental aspect pretty well. Um and then I think Dexter as well, like having that big tier 1 experience player allows like he'll be vocal like I've already said this. I think he'll be like the most vocal person on the team because he's gonna want to prove himself. He's gonna be vocal, he's gonna want to be making plays, and he's gonna want to be supporting his team, obviously. So I think him, Dexter being there to like kind of boost Dare because he's like not as well oriented to like higher level of play. He's been stuck in NA CS, which he hasn't been able to get out and like show what he can do. So I think this synergy is really gonna like help propel this team forward. One of the downsides, if only the downside, is they don't have a VRS core, which means they are going to have to get all of their VRS points to get ranked starting out by going through open qualifiers and frag events. But I'm not too worried about that because of the quality of players that are on this supposed team. Um, so I think this is like their best bet. Obviously, you can argue that maybe Sense is going to be too expensive. Same with Dexter. You don't know if Floppy wants to even come back and play Counter Strike. It's going to be difficult for them financially, I think, but it's definitely possible. And I think this team would definitely, make majors. I don't know how far they can make it with this iteration, but I think this team can definitely make the major, and it still is a North American core. The other team that I think is possible is buying an American core. Um, I think this is right now is honestly like the worst time they could buy it. But I don't know, if Wildcard wants to really pay like a team or an organization. This is more of like a budget option that I think is going to need like more changes in the long term, but I think it could this team that I'm about to show could make the major and it could do it. But I think it's less sound and less likely to work than the first roster. And so this is the roster. You got Ben, you got B Willis, you got Fruit Cup, you got OC, and you got Breeze. Why I think this team works. First off, you're getting three, like the core of Fruit Cup, B Willis, and Ben for free. Um, you got I replaced Slight and Darty with OC and Breeze. Why? Because I'm not personally super confident in Slump to be a big game player. I think if you look at it, he's really good against like not top tier North American competition. And I think when you want to be making the major, I think you're going to need someone with more experience. And that's why I brought in OC. And then with Breeze over Darty, that's just for me. I think Ben will need a secondary caller, someone with a good amount of experience, um, who's won trophies in Breeze. Um, I'm not sure if he wants to come back and play either, but he's not announced anything being retired, so I'd assume he still wants to come back and play. And I think he can bring a lot of like leadership and like veterancy to the team. I think Fruit Cup, if he can get back in form, he's like a shooter. I think B Willis is like a really solid player as well. I can't say for sure that this team would be able to make majors. And synergy wise, I'm not worried. Like, this is already a core. I don't think they're going to be too worried about. I think from what I know, like, I don't think anyone has a lot of issues with Breeze. OC, I think he's a pretty relaxed guy. I don't know that much, but I think he's a more consistent against higher level competition. He has more experience. Um, so I think this team could work. It's obviously going to be cheaper. They get the core, but I don't know if the same level of skill is there compared to the first team. And that's all I have. Obviously, this is just theorizing and like guessing what they could do. I don't know what they are going to do. But I hope, this was at least entertaining. Thanks for watching. Peace out.